start again. It's a rich thing.
What's going on, everybody? It's the Bull Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, free agency day 1 and day 2 has now gone by, as we're looking forward to the third day of free agency to see whether or not we have or will make any more signings to bolster up the roster just a little bit more. Now, today we're going to be looking at some of the signings that we've already made in relation to free agency and kind of discuss as of now, what free agency has looked like for the Chicago Bulls and whether or not it's something to be proud of or something to be rather disappointed in. We'll be discussing all of that in this video. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls free agency so far. I'm not going to say in terms of giving it a grade or anything like that. I feel like I will probably give a grade on this free agency period once it's over. There's still a lot of opportunities for the Bulls to do something, I guess, unique or different when it comes to trades. I think we have one roster spot remaining for a free agent signing and stuff of that nature. We might not have that much room in terms of financial at this point if we want to stay below the luxury tax, but nevertheless, we still have other ways that we can try and make some sort of moves in free agency. So until the free agency period is over, I won't grade what I believe the free agency period is so far, but I think you can clearly see from the reaction that most Bulls fans have been having, it's a very up and down free agency period for the Chicago Bulls. So the 3 signings that we actually made in terms of this free agency period, 2 of them have been on the Chicago Bulls team before. That is definitely something that you got to keep your eyes on. The 3 signings that we made, the Zach LaVine returning on a max deal, 5 years, $215.2 million deal with a player option on his 5th year. Derrick Jones Jr., 2 years, $6.6 million with a player option in his 2nd year. And Andre Drummond, 2 years, $6.6 million with a player option on the 2nd year. There's a little bit of a theme going on around here, ladies and gentlemen, and I really think these player options are mainly due to the fact that the Bulls are going very cheap this free agency period. Now, ultimately, take Zach LaVine aside away from that, I don't necessarily know why Zach LaVine has a player option in his 5th year. I guess that's just part of what he wanted in terms of his contracts. But Andre Drummond and Derrick Jones Jr., I personally believe, are beneficiaries because the Chicago Bulls are doing this cheap. They basically get a player option. They get to decide their own future. And most likely, if they feel like they're worth more than what they're getting because they're both on cheap contracts, there's a high chance that they're going to opt out in the 2nd year of their contract in relation to the Chicago Bulls. So I think this is personally a tactical move by the Bulls to, I guess, make sure that when they're doing this cheap, in case they do very, very well, we get a little bit more cap space if they opt out and we can try to make moves next season. That's personally what I believe, but at the end of the day, I could be wrong. We don't really know, I guess, the main reason behind the player options. The most important thing for me was getting Zach LaVine back in free agency. At the end of the day, when we first started free agency, the very time that the Milwaukee Bucks ended the series against the Chicago Bulls, Zach LaVine said he's going to take his time. It's not a foregone conclusion that he's going to stay with the Chicago Bulls. He wants to explore all other avenues. He wants to make sure he's making the right decision. So all of that, a lot of people got very worried from the very beginning of, I guess, the end of our season to free agency, that Zach LaVine, there's a possibility he doesn't sign here. So all things considered, I think that was the most important thing for most Chicago Bulls fans, making sure Zach LaVine re-signs in free agency. Because if that was the case and we did not bring Zach LaVine back in free agency, whether he did a sign and trade with a different team or whether he just left without any sort of assets coming back for the Chicago Bulls, there was a very high possibility if Zach LaVine does not return, we do not compete anywhere near as much in terms of the NBA than what we already were. You could say that, look, we were the 6th seed. You could say that we had a tremendous downfall at the end of the season last year. Whatever the case may be, a lot of our success came at the beginning and the middle of the season, and Zach LaVine was a big part of that. So not having Zach LaVine and trying to find other players and other people to try and make up what Zach LaVine would offer, I don't think we would compete anywhere near as much without Zach LaVine on the team. So instantly, at least now, we'll be competing at the same level, if not higher, with Zach LaVine on the team. That was very important. I think the Derrick Jones Jr. signing is actually a very smart one. At the time, I didn't really know the salary behind Derrick Jones Jr. signing. Obviously, we had the bird rights to Derrick Jones Jr., which means that we did not use the MLE, the mid-level exception, to actually sign on Derrick Jones Jr. At least that's what many people have told me from this point in time. So obviously a very good signing there. Derrick Jones Jr. is still a young player that can still develop into something. I just hope he can continue his three-point shooting and developing his three-point shooting. He seems to get better at it every season, even if it's not by much. Hopefully next season it'll be a massive leap because we're going to need three-point shooting. And if we're not going to improve our three-point shooting, because I think that's one of the biggest weaknesses in free agency, we're going to need players on this team that are already on this team to improve themselves so we can at least have a decent three-point shooting team and hopefully more attempts from the three-point line as well. We're not just relying on isolation plays and mid-range play. We do need a little bit more three-point shooting out there as well. I think that was a decent signing. I don't think it did any harm to us whatsoever bringing back Derrick Jones Jr. But ultimately, the biggest mixed bag for many people has been Andre Drummond. Now, a lot of people have two different mindsets or two different things about Andre Drummond. Some people say that Andre Drummond plays little to no defense in the NBA anymore. He's only really here for the Chicago Bulls to grab rebounds and to get put-back opportunities. That's all he does. That's all he's been doing for the last couple of years. Then you have other people on the other side of the coin saying that Andre Drummond still plays very good defense in this league, can get you out a block per game, has good defensive ratings in terms of all of the statistics on that side of things. I'm not mainly a statistics person, but that is definitely something that has been come up before, and we're going to see Andre Drummond play great defense. I've also heard that Andre Drummond is a Tristan Thompson 2.0, and I've heard that from almost every single platform that I go on in relation to the Chicago Bulls. What I have to say to that, ultimately, when it comes to defense or no defense, we're going to find out all of that on the court, ladies and gentlemen. We can have that initial reaction now that Andre Drummond plays great defense or Andre Drummond doesn't play great defense. The fact of the matter is, we're going to find all of that out on the court. From preseason to the regular season, if Andre Drummond doesn't play defense, we're going to find out about it very quickly. But if Andre Drummond does play defense, we'll also find out about it very quickly. But one thing I can't agree with, he's not Tristan Thompson 2.0. I don't know where that came from. I think they're miles and streets beyond each other. I think Andre Drummond is a much better player than Tristan Thompson. He always has been, in my opinion. Tristan Thompson has something that Andre Drummond doesn't have, and that's championship experience. But Andre Drummond has been a better player throughout the whole of his career compared to Tristan Thompson. They're not on the same level, at least from what I've seen. Tristan Thompson was a good signing at the time for the Chicago Bulls. In hindsight, it didn't work out, but at the time of us making the signing, many people did like the signing. Obviously, I wish Tristan Thompson the best, but I do think we got an upgrade in terms of that backup center position. I don't think there's any question about it. I don't know where people are making these comparisons. I think people are just frustrated. And at the end of the day, it's a mixed bag. This free agency, in my opinion, has been relatively mixed because a lot of the stuff we expected to get done, got done. But some of the stuff that we expected to get in terms of our targets, in terms of what we wanted out of this free agency period, I feel like we could have done better or we just simply did not improve on. We talk about rim protection. We all know Andre Drummond wasn't the number one option in terms of rim protection. Now, whether he brings it or not, we'll have to wait and see. But there were so many options that we could have went through that probably would have been better. Again, Isaiah Hartenstein, who went to the Knicks, Mitchell Robinson. You got guys like Mo Bamba that probably could have done the job for you as well. You even got some of those other guys like Nicholas Claxton that I think could have been a good option as well. Regardless of what you think, we could have seen a little bit of a better option than Andre Drummond. But we haven't improved our three-point shooting at all. What signing have we made to improve that three-point shooting? And at the end of the day, that was one of our biggest weaknesses. Someone that can at least do a catch and shoot from the corner, or someone that we can run a play for from the three-point line. We don't have that guy. That guy right now is Lonzo, but Lonzo should be the one that's running the plays, not the one that's on the end of the plays. Yes, Lonzo can shoot the three ball. Yes, he can play on ball and off ball. But I feel like we lose a lot of our biggest asset in Lonzo Ball if we're just going to sit him in the corner the whole game. So we do need more players that can help contribute from the three-point line. And I think obviously our players could develop into better three-point shooters. We're hoping Patrick Williams will be a little bit more aggressive from the three-point line and from within the three-point line. You're hoping Io can also do the same. You're hoping Kobe White can find a little bit more consistency if he's here. You're hoping Dalen Terry improves his perimeter game throughout the course of the NBA season as well. You're hoping on a lot of things. You're even hoping Justin Lewis can make a couple of three-point shots when he gets his opportunities in the NBA. But regardless, what we've actually haven't done is look for a solution at this point in time. Of course, it's only the third day. We can still make a lot of moves. But at this point in time, we are still lacking a really good three-point shooter or someone that can at least shoot a high efficiency, even if he doesn't take that many shots. We haven't really found that player on the Chicago Bulls team yet. So that's what I think we need to work on. But as of right now, I find this free agency relatively mixed. I'm happy we got Zach LaVine back, but a lot of people expected that. I'm very surprised we got Derrick Jones Jr. back, but I think that does little to no harm on what the Chicago Bulls can do. And obviously, Andre Drummond is the biggest mixed bag of them all. So, with free agency still left to go, I'm going to say I'm very mixed on this free agency period. Not going to grade it anytime soon. We'll wait for it to finish. But let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this free agency period so far. Has it been an outstanding one? Is it what you expected it to be? Did you expect a little bit more and you felt, I guess, hard done by? Did it underachieve? Was it miserable? Stuff like that. I feel relatively mixed. I can't lie. I'm not going to always promote the Bulls and what they do, but right now, I'm a little bit confused, or I'm a little bit mixed on it. I'm not sold on the idea yet, and sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. Sometimes it takes seeing them on the court together to change my mind, and that's something we're going to have to wait and see about. But ultimately, I'm going to end this video here. The biggest thing to take away, we still have time. We still have a lot of days to go in free agency to either turn it around, make a massive impact, or if we keep it the same and we don't make any moves, then we got a lot of the season to bring in a two-way contract spot and a remaining spot on the 15th man on the roster. So we have a long time to kind of decipher what we want to do with those two spots. But ultimately, in terms of the free agency period, I do hope we get at least one more player into the Chicago Bulls team, and hopefully it will be a shooter. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video. Have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.